Hello, my name is Philip Totaro. I'm the founder and CEO of market research firm IntelStor. Welcome to your weekly dose of truth to power. Truth to Power examines data driven insights for the energy sector with a focus on renewables. On this week's episode, we're looking at the installed capacity and market share for the global onshore wind energy market from the IntelStor Future of Renewables report. The global market for onshore wind energy is 1.2 terawatts as of the end of 2025, with capacity installed in over 149 different countries. Onshore wind energy may still be slightly behind hydropower in installed capacity at the end of 2025, but by the end of 2026, it's going to be the number 2 renewable energy technology installed globally. The popularity of the technology has been down to the cost efficiencies on both capital expenditure as well as levelized cost of energy, not to mention the fact that the operations and maintenance cost per installed megawatt and cost per megawatt hour produced is actually very competitive. Asset owners have seen overwhelmingly positive returns on their investments, and the technology has been one of the most capital efficient when leveraging public finance or any other kind of public support. While it's no surprise that China leads the world, there's been significant progress made in the rest of the world over the past 25 years. The USA should have more capacity installed by now, but acceleration of the elimination of government subsidies has sparked another construction cycle that will actually see the USA spike in capacity additions by the end of this year and the end of 2027, when the majority of that capacity needs to be online to qualify for the remaining subsidies that we get through the production tax credits. India should surpass Germany by the end of 2027 and potentially even by the end of 2026 as they race to add new capacity. The rest of the world is continuing a general upward trend, with many countries in Europe facing a repowering supercycle while they're simultaneously trying to build domestic energy security. China's global leadership has allowed the Asia Pacific region to achieve a 56.2% market share by the end of 2025. Europe's in second place at 22.4%, but they're facing a serious challenge from the Americas region, in which Canada, Brazil, and Chile are helping to drive a significant amount of new capacity. The USA still has some onshore wind capacity it can add in the coming years thanks to wind turbines which were safe harbored a few years ago, so they still qualify for tax credits. Nevertheless, the world is going to have to learn how to move the industry forward with a lower overall subsidy regime, as governments generally have moved support away from onshore wind due to it becoming a more mainstream technology. Africa and the Middle East still has plenty of room for growth, but they are stymied by a lack of transmission infrastructure and regional preferences for solar PV, given how cost competitive it's been. Europe began the past quarter century with just under 75% market share for onshore wind, while the Americas had a little over 15%, and the bulk of the rest came from the Asia Pacific region. China's surge in onshore wind, partly driven by their own federal subsidy regime ending back in 2020, drove some spikes in capacity additions, which resulted in them taking a firm lead in global market share. By 2030, we expect that the Asia Pacific region, led by China, will continue their expansion in market share by taking it away from both Europe and the Americas. While Africa and the Middle East continues to add capacity, they're only keeping pace with the status quo in the rest of the world at this point. Annual capacity additions have ramped up significantly for onshore wind. In 2020, the world saw an outlier when wind energy achieved 100 gigawatts of capacity installed for the first time ever. China ended federal subsidies for onshore wind, and it drove an installation rush. But as of 2023, the industries continued to add 100 gigawatts or more per year as the rest of the world seeks to leverage one of the least expensive forms of renewable energy. The next 5 years should see the trend continue with a dip in 2027 due to the drop in capacity additions expected in the USA as the federal subsidies end, as well as a dip in China that are being driven by a lack of grid capacity. China's been adding a significant amount of grid capacity in the country since 2015, and renewables have grown substantially thanks to the grid capacity that's available. However, it's anticipated that the current pace of capacity additions there will actually slow down a bit temporarily as they reach certain grid capacity constraints around the 2027 timeframe, and then accelerate again after that once they've installed more HVDC lines to bring power from desert regions to their major cities. Global wind energy capacity additions are almost entirely dependent on available grid capacity, as wind and solar PV represent the most cost effective solutions for renewable energy capacity installed. Since the year 2000, onshore wind energy has grown from just under 24 gigawatts installed globally to just under 1.2 terawatts by the end of 2025. That's an increase of 4,797%, or an average annual growth of 191.1% per year. Another 573.8 gigawatts of capacity should be installed globally by 2030, with the Asia Pacific region leading the way, followed by the Americas and then Europe. This will add another 35.5% to the existing installed capacity as of the end of 2025. Africa and the Middle East will still have a way to go in order to catch up to the rest of the world on installed capacity. However, they will continue with the resource exploitation as Saudi and UAE based investors have not only sought to increase their footprint of wind energy investments globally, but they're also prepared to support regional growth in the Africa and Middle Eastern region in particular. Thank you for joining me this week. I'm Philip Totaro, and this has been your weekly dose of truth to power. We'll have more to come from this IntelStor exclusive report, The Future of Renewables, next time on Truth to Power, including a look at the generation and efficiency of the global onshore wind energy market. In the meantime, you can follow us on IntelStor's YouTube channel, as well as your favorite audio platforms. And visit www.intelstor.com to join more than 300,000 subscribers to our renewable energy data solutions. We're adding subscribers faster than ever, so don't miss out. Register today. A full analysis of the global renewable energy market is available to online subscribers of this new exclusive IntelStor report, The Future of Renewables. And tickets are on sale now for the next Wind Summit event in Houston, Texas, on the 3rd and 4th of November 2026. Visit www.windsummit.org and join hundreds of your industry colleagues to discuss all the latest trends in O&M. We've got speakers and panelists lined up from companies like NextEra, EDPR, EDF, Pattern Energy, ExxonMobil, WEG, and more. So don't miss out. Register today. We hope to see you there.